Hey guys, Lunar Spy 1127 here, bringing you Toriko chapter 216, pulling ahead. So the chapter begins with Mansan and Rin riding on top a giant giraffe with wings and unicorn horns. Apparently these things are called giraffe birds. Apparently these giraffe birds have a great sense of smell. According to Mansan, when they get close to ruffians, they immediately become aware of it, and the roaring of a giraffe bird signals the start of a battle. So these things are basically used to detect if the Bishokukai will appear, because if they know that they will appear, that means that the battle will finally start. We finally cut back to the triathlon competition of the cooking fest. Apparently in this second part, you have to choose a path to head to the third and final stage. If you choose an easy path, the distance will be longer. But if you use a shortcut, apparently that part will turn into an obstacle course with dangerous wild beasts. So we get to see some of these wild beasts attacking the chefs that are heading towards the final stage. One of the chefs is named Toriko, and she attacks a paper crocodile by using a technique called the guillotine slice, which is sliced the crocodile multiple times into different pieces. Just like before in the previous two chapters, we get to see the chef's full course menus, and Toriko's full course menu, I think it involves with weird looking creatures. I'm not really sure like what she cooks, but yeah, that's what it basically deals with. Then the next chef we're introduced is Genshan, which I think his specialty is soup. I'm not really sure because he used something called addendum soup that was like from the time of his grandfather's grandfather's grandfather. He used it against a spare pig. But then we cut to the another chef, which I'm actually more familiar with him. He is Tyran. He was one of the chefs in the gourmet underworld, and he specializes in poison from what we can see in his full course menu. And honestly, I could actually see him as a potential combo partner for Coco, since, you know, Coco deals with poison, and he cooks poison, and Tyran cooks poison, so I think, yeah, those two could be a possible combo together, if that's possible. And I guess in this tournament, he uses the detox knife to, I guess, to poison and to kill these weird creatures called sand hamsters. Yeah, basically in this chapter, we get to see different chefs using different techniques against different creatures in this tournament. We get to see more chefs using their bikes to get to the third final stage, but then they sense this strange aura, and you get to see some weird-looking demon face. And it turns out to be Buranchi. Apparently, Buranchi is so fast, he manages to like zoom way past the chefs and head towards the end of the of a very narrow path connected to two cliffs. And in tow, he is bringing Komatsu along. Yeah, so in the panel, you get to see Buranchi speeding through on his bike, carrying Komatsu while he's on his bike. I thought that was kind of funny. But then later on, when he gets to like the end of the path that was connected to the two cliffs, he slams his foot, breaks the cliffs, while some of the chefs were actually on that path, and you know, now they fall down to their deaths. And I gotta admit, it was kind of funny that he was like, oh, my foot slipped, sorry. And then we get this another funny moment with Komatsu. He was like, you can't do things like this, you gotta compete fair and square. And then Buranchi was like, yeah, you're right. I guess I did kind of pretend my foot slipped. Next time, I push him off fair and square. I thought that was kind of funny. Then we finally get to the end of the second portion of the triathlon. It turns out that there is a utensil break station where the chefs can choose any special cooking utensils to use to cook their food. But apparently, if they are too late to get there, they have to use normal utensils that they have to cook. Now, in the lead, we actually get a three-way tie between Setsuno, Yuta, and Zaus. And these guys were incredibly fast, and they're close to the finish line. But then we get to see something, this strange blur past the finish line, and it turns out to be Buranchi again. Buranchi apparently is so fast, even faster than Setsuno, Zaus, and Yuta. And we see how Setsuno can be with her speed. I mean, the fact that Buranchi is way faster than Setsuno is actually quite impressive. And then, right after he gets to the finish line, him and Komatsu, he starts getting into an argument with the three major chefs. He was calling them elderly problems. And then he started calling Zaus a beard face, and he was actually getting into argument with these three, and they were like really annoyed by their little nicknames. He's basically telling them off because that's the next generation's turn to win, not the elderly, of course. And right after that, not only the third final part of the Trashalon was skipped, but 2 more competitions were skipped. At first, I was kind of a bit disappointed, but I can understand why, because I think Shimabukuro wants to get through these competitions to get to the cooking finals, and also to the upcoming battle between the IGO and the Bishokukai, of course. Now we do get a bit of a narration of what was going on. Apparently, Komatsu in the third final, the Komatsu is actually cooking his food, and he's not using the milk kitchen fight because he wants to win this challenge fair and square. Of course, the G7, who are the taste testers, the judges, they approve of Komatsu, and now he's in the top 50. Now, the second competition was called Scale Death Cooking, and it was to test how fast the chef can cook. And, Komatsu won this one because of his training when he learned food honor. So, yeah, he won that one easily. And then the next one was the entire island cooking. But unfortunately, it doesn't actually say what that competition was, so I'm not really sure what it is. But, yeah, right after those portions were skipped, we finally get to the final 32. Now, from what I can tell, I'm not going to name all the chefs that were there, but I'll name the ones that we know so far. So, Komatsu and Buranchi made it. Zaus, Setsuno have made it. Livebearer, the former underground cook, yeah, he made it. Chiru, Mami, Toriko, Wabatora, I think I remember him, yeah. And I think that's it. That's all I know at the moment. Now, I don't see Yuta in this, so I think he's probably eliminated. From what we can tell in the standings, Komatsu is going to face up against Zaus, and Zaus is like one of the top 3 ranking chefs, so that is, yeah, so a lot of pressure for Komatsu there. Buranchi is going to face off against Liber. For those of you who don't know, he was the former underground gourmet chef. He was the one that challenged Coco to a matching card game to win the Meteor Garlic. Now, before the first part of the finals began, we had to cut back to the ocean and to the sky. We see a bunch of weird-looking creatures in the ocean and in the sky. And then when we got back to the cooking fest, Komatsu is greeted by one of his old friends, Ume. Yeah, and they finally reunited. And then the chapter ends with one of the giraffe birds actually sensing something heading towards them. And that's basically where the chapter ends. So, Toriko chapters 216. I gotta admit, this was a decent chapter. I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get to see some of the rest of the competitions, but I think Shimabukuro just wants to skip those to head towards the finals and to the upcoming battle between IGO and Bishokukai. It looks like that we might get to see them in next week's chapter. If not, then we'll probably see Komatsu's competition against Zaus in the finals, or Buranchi and Livebearer, or we could actually see other chefs facing off against each other in the top 32 finals. Now, as for who is going to win in this competition, that is, if the competition doesn't get interrupted, I'm not really sure. I mean, it was said that the last time Buranchi competed, he won, so it's most likely Buranchi might win. Hell, or it could be either Zaus and Setsuno, because you know how incredibly talented they are. But you know they could have a chance to win. Komatsu, he was recently inducted into the top 100 ranking chefs, so it's possible that he might win, or he could be a semi-finalist or a finalist. But I'm not really sure if Komatsu is gonna win in this competition. Now, next week's chapter, yeah, as I said before, we might get to see the Bishokukai approaching the cooking fest, or we might see them near the end of the chapter, next week's chapter. But most likely, we'll probably see portions of the top 32 cooking finals. Now, is Komatsu gonna win against Zaus? Zaus is, I'm not really sure what ranking he is. I think he was in the top 3 or the top 5, I believe. So, he's definitely might be a tough opponent for Komatsu to face, since Komatsu, if I recall, he was number 82 because of I think it was the medical mochi that he made during the 4 Beast arc, and of course the century soup and the morse oil that he found and made. Now Buranchi against Life Bearer, I'm gonna go on limb and say Buranchi might win this one, even though Life Bearer was pretty tough back then. But yeah, Buranchi might be a no-brainer for him to win this competition. So overall, this chapter of Toriko, I thought this was pretty decent. Even though some of the portions of the competition was skipped. But, you know, it's okay because we want to get straight to the upcoming battle between IGL and Bishokukai, which I cannot wait to see. So yeah, that's Toriko chapter 216. I'm going to Spiral 27, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.